In the last few years, Airbus has been conducting tests on their various aircraft to assess if they can fly with 100% sustainable aviation fuel. In the last few years, Airbus has been conducting tests on their various aircraft to determine if they can fly with 100% sustainable aviation fuel. This testing was conducted on the Airbus A350 and Airbus A319. However, on March 25, 2022, the tests were carried out on the world's largest passenger aircraft, the Airbus A380. During the testing, the Airbus A380 flew continuously for 3 hours after taking off from Toulouse, France. The aircraft, which has 4 Rolls-Royce Trent 900 engines, used 100% sustainable aviation fuel in one of its engines. The testing was very successful. What is sustainable aviation fuel? Aircraft need fuel to fly. The one we use right now is made of fossil fuel. This means it comes from the buried remains of plants and animals that lived millions of years ago. But the use of fossil fuel produces a lot of CO2, and that's not very good for our planet. This is where sustainable aviation fuel, or SAF, comes into play. So what is it? SAF is made from all kinds of stuff, from things we would throw away to forestry waste, and even combining captured CO2 with hydrogen. And here comes the best part. By regularly using SAF, there will be less CO2 in the air, depending on the source, up to 5 times less. So as we speak, scientists are busy working on all kinds of solutions to make aircraft fly in a cleaner way. SAF is one of these ways and is ready to go. It's a great solution to reduce the burden on our planet. How do we make sustainable aviation fuel? Let's look at an example. We use oil to cook our food every day. When we're done cooking, rather than throwing the oil away, we can transform it into sustainable aviation fuel. SAF for short. So how does that work? First, we collect the used oil from different places. And yes, you can help too. Time to transform all this oil. We heat it slightly to make it more liquid and filter it, all clean. Now we heat it again at high temperature and inject hydrogen. Wow, a chemical reaction happens and water appears among the oil. We cool it down and separate the oil from the water. We heat the oil for the third and last time and add some gases, including hydrogen, to the mix. And the oil transforms again. We cool everything down and it splits into 3 kinds of sustainable fuel. We blend the SAF with fossil fuel so it can be used in current aircraft. Finally, we take it to the airport to refuel the aircraft. Ready for takeoff. And this is just one of many ways to make SAF. Why is sustainable aviation fuel better than conventional fuel? When an aircraft flies on fossil fuel, CO2 is released into the air, and that's not very good for our planet. When it uses sustainable aviation fuel, or SAF, well, CO2 gets into the air too. So, why is SAF better? Let's look at this example. A sunflower needs CO2, among other things, to grow. We can turn the sunflower into oil and then cook a delicious meal. The used sunflower oil can be recycled into sustainable aviation fuel. When SAF burns inside an aircraft's engine, CO2 is released into the air. But have you guessed? Some of it is the same CO2 the sunflower used to grow before. In short, the sunflower helps us. It absorbs some CO2 from the air, and when we use SAF to power a plane, we simply return this CO2 to the air. This way, much less CO2 adds up in the atmosphere, and the sunflower is only one example. SAF can be made from many different things, but all of them have first captured CO2 from the air. How can we use sustainable aviation fuel to power aircraft? Aircraft need fuel, but the fuel we use now is not very good for our planet. There is an exciting alternative, sustainable aviation fuel, or SAF. SAF is made from all kinds of stuff, from things we would throw away to forestry waste, and even combining captured CO2 with hydrogen. So, SAF can be used to power aircraft in a cleaner way. Then, why doesn't every aircraft use SAF? First, we need to figure out how to produce more of it, because right now there isn't enough. And it's still expensive compared to regular fuel. When there's more available, the cost will go down. A lot. And do you know what needs to be changed about the aircraft? In fact, nothing much. From the smallest helicopter to the largest passenger plane, any recent aircraft can use SAF blended with regular fuel. And scientists are working on a bunch of ideas to make SAF even better. So it's a matter of time before all aircraft can fly with 100% pure SAF. Sustainable aviation fuel, SAF, is a type of fuel made from organic material or sustainable raw materials. Its chemical composition is comparable to that of fossil jet fuel. The main feature of SAF is that it emits significantly less carbon dioxide. Depending on the raw materials used, carbon dioxide emissions can be reduced by up to 80%. During the testing, the Airbus A380 used 27 tons of non-blended sustainable aviation fuel in one engine. This fuel was provided by TotalEnergies, an oil and gas company in France. The SAF used in the testing was free from aromatics and sulfur. It was produced through a hydroprocessing method involving esters and fatty acids, specifically derived from used cooking oil and fats. Airbus conducted a second flight test on March 29th. During this test, they evaluated the Airbus A380's performance, specifically focusing on its ability to both take off and land using sustainable aviation fuel. The test was successful. Airbus conducted successful tests on the A319, A350 and A380 aircraft. Additionally, a test was conducted on the H225 helicopter using 100% sustainable aviation fuel in one engine, which Airbus completed successfully. All aircraft currently being produced by Airbus are certified to fly with a blend of up to 50% biofuel. The aviation industry is aiming to achieve zero carbon emissions by 2050, with Airbus setting an ambitious target to reach this goal by 2035. Engineers at Rolls-Royce are confident that they will soon be able to use 100% sustainable aviation fuel in all their engines. Other jet engine manufacturers in the current market are also working towards using up to 50% biofuel. Replacing traditional kerosene with sustainable aviation fuel is becoming increasingly common in the aviation industry, with many governments initiating programs to support this transition through subsidies and other incentives. This shift towards sustainable aviation fuel not only aims to reduce emissions, but also creates new employment opportunities. Airbus is committed to working tirelessly to achieve these goals, with the development and testing of such fuels becoming a top priority across all aircraft models. Achieving zero emissions in aviation is a significant endeavour, but the industry is dedicated to making it a reality.